little tiny girl behind the kitchen, and he said, "Just give me what you normally get." He got a matcha tea. Did he like it? No, he didn't like it because it tastes like grass.
All right, hey, welcome back to the Unbroken Ground. This is Conversations with Jim. Jim is here. Jim, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back, Paul.
Yeah, it's been a while. I actually don't. I guess I could have looked it up and determined when the last time we did this, but I think it's been like probably almost a year.
Yeah, it's probably been. Well, at the latest, it was the spring.
Yeah,
I mean,
which
because
we're getting close to
I work
that.
at camp, so camp makes me disappear.
Yeah, so I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, good to be back.
How's life?
We're rolling. Camp season is winding down, and so life starts getting kind of at a good pace of like, I don't know. The fun of camp is great when it's fun to do a job like that and ministry like that, but it's also fun to have a life and do things on your own and with your family, and that's where I'm going from here. So that's kind of fun.
Nice. And you are quickly approaching. This is be an interesting thing. I mean, it's interesting to me. I don't know if it's interesting to anybody else, but you are quickly approaching a sabbatical. Any finalized big plans or anything you got going for that?
Yeah, I guess I'm telling everybody I got 3 big goals. The first goal is spend time with the family. Just because my kids are getting older, so just spending time with them before they all kind of run away, and it gets harder and harder to have family together. So that's goal number 1. Goal number 2, because we're a nonprofit camp, I'm trying to make some extra money. So we've had some bills come up, and so just trying to make some extra money. Outside of camp, so camp's really, I mean, it just fell in a great time as far as sabbatical goes. And then professionally, I'm trying to think through initiatives and what that looks like and how people are doing it and training it and all of that. So there is a little bit of professional development that I wouldn't necessarily be able to do if I was doing camp building maintenance and stuff like that. So
Okay.
I'm going to try.
We'll see. Podcast guest. That's 4.
And podcast guest.
That's number 4.
And a little project with my daughter. And maybe build a guitar with my other daughter. That costs money though, so I don't know. We'll see.
Electric or acoustic?
She wants an electric guitar. So.
Okay.
So yeah. I would be carving the bass.
You'd have to buy some electronics.
And get the electronics.
Or find somebody who has an electric guitar and then steal the electronics.
Oh yeah, we could do that too.
So,
but if it goes well, selfishly, I kind of want to start playing the bass again.
Okay.
So if it goes well, maybe we'd do a bass. But I'm finding that the electronics for guitar cost more than an entry-level guitar. And so I don't really understand what, I mean...
So you should go to a pawn shop and buy an electric guitar there. And
that is a good...
And take all the electronics out.
However, I could just bring her to the pawn shop and we could get a cheap guitar at a pawn shop, and then she has a guitar.
That's true, but...
Because I don't think my daughter really cares about the building side of it. She just kind of wants a guitar, an electric guitar. So.
Yeah. But you would have fun building it.
I might.
I mean, because it'd be a hard, like, for an electric, you're just building it's just a solid piece of wood.
Yeah.
Just,
an electric,
kind of. The body's solid, and then you connect the neck.
It's just shaping it, and then sanding it, and then routing out the holes for all the electronics, and getting it to look how you want it to look, and then finishing it. So.
Yeah. This could be your next woodworking business here. So if you want a guitar by Jim, let us know.
There you go. Yeah, or if any other kind of shops. I mean, I've already actually lined up a garage remodel a little bit, and then some other just here and there's that I'm doing for other people. So.
Okay.
So that's the gym update, I guess. There you go.
Yeah.
Internet land, you know all about me now. So.
Yeah. And if you listen to the last podcast, you realize that I'm not doing a weekly one anymore, and that this having friends on is going to be the new norm, and maybe every month. So while Jim's on sabbatical, we may have some more opportunities to do that, or not. Who knows? He may be busy building guitars, but yeah.
Yes. Everybody get in touch with me. Let's build some more guitars. Fill the world with. I'd have to come up with a name though.
Jim Durr.
I don't know the guitar world at all. I'd have to.
I mean, Fender
Okay.
is a very classic one. Les Paul.
Okay.
Less Jim.
Less Jim.
Less Jim.
Kind of like that one.
What else are there? There's
More of you, less of Jim.
less Jim. That might be the best. Maybe that's what we'll call this episode. Less Jim.
Less Jim. Okay.
But LES.
Oh, okay.
It's
Right.
Les Paul and the Gibson. That's one of the more famous ones. But yeah. So they're out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've thought about doing an acoustic guitar, but I don't have nearly the right tools for that.
Yeah.
So that would, or probably patience. Probably don't have the patience for an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, it's because that would be some bending. You'd have to kind of bend the
Yeah.
shaping.
Well, the bending would be the cool part.
Yeah.
The tediousness of putting it together would be the hard part, I think.
Yeah.
Because there's just a lot of fragile and slow gluing and
Yeah.
stuff like that with the skeleton there and all of that bracing and all that stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's all boring. Nobody likes that.
I mean, this is really just for us anyway. So, I mean, that's all the podcast has been. I think I shared I didn't share this on the final one, but my favorite image of me starting the podcast and finishing it, and this is just for us too, because who knows how old you are when you're listening to this, but Forrest Gump is my favorite image, where he starts to run and he's just like, and so I ran, and then and then I guess I'm through running, and so that's kind of what I've done with the podcast. It's like I'm doing a podcast, and now I guess I'm done with that, but I'm not really, but I am.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing Stats for Losers, which is a video podcast, so you can watch.
Oh, we can watch you now.
You won't see me; you'll see the stats.
Oh. Well. Okay.
Maybe one day. I don't actually have a camera for my other computer, so I got to do that because I want to do some Zoom podcasting interviews with people for Called Out. That's still out there. That haven't updated that in quite some time.
Oh, sure.
And
Yeah.
so, but I need to get a camera.
I like
and all
those
that.
called out ones. Those called out ones were fun.
So, yeah, I've got a few people that I'd like to reach out to and see. Maybe get some famous people on there, and then I'll be famous.
That's true. I mean, that's the way to build, because you keep inviting me on here, and
I mean, I'm
The numbers are not
Lakin
going
famous. Lakin famous.
maybe. All right.
Lacan.
Yeah.
Lacan famous.
Is that lock on?
All right. Well, if you've listened to an episode with Jim and I, you know that one of the things we do is going to be Would You Rather, and so I think we established one time that the rules is you got to choose one, and then I had to have to defend the other side of it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I'll let you go first. You get to choose first.
I choose first. Okay.
And I'll defend the other side. This one, I'm not actually sure, because I might say neither, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Would you rather be able to run on your hands or write with your feet? Run on your hands. So
what
I'm
are the rules
imagining
with the questions? Can I ask questions?
you can ask questions and
Can I run normally?
I think so. I think it's like I don't think it's like you just run on your hands. It's like as an added benefit, you also could do a handstand and run But I mean, my question would be: are you running at the same pace? Like, can you run as fast if you're running on your
Yeah,
hands?
for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. And can you ride as good with your feet? Like you're like it's like they can't tell the difference.
Like you're beyond ambidextrous.
Right,
You're
like-
onto whatever.
Yeah.
Four-footed.
yeah.
Four-handed?
Quad-dextrous?
You're...
I don't know. All right, what's your-
quad?
Ambiquad?
I don't know. What,
Ambiquadistra? Man, we're sounding really smart.
yeah.
Which one would you like to choose, sir?
I think I'd go with writing with your feet. I think I'm going with writing with your feet.
Okay.
Because,
Reasons?
I mean, going along the possible business options,
Okay.
you could sell art with your feet.
Mm.
And people would be like, oh, that's amazing. You can do that with your feet. Where if you're just running with your hands, like, and you can still run normally, that's just an impressive party trick.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of a reason why running with your hands would be advantageous. It's not, anything is not really coming up to me. Why would I want to run with my hands?
It is cool. I will give you.
I
it's
mean,
impressive.
it is a cool factor.
Like
but,
if you had a camp kid that could run as fast as on their hands
yeah.
as they could on their feet.
It feels a little anti-evolutionary because it's...
Think about your ultimate games. You would throw somebody off so hard.
Yeah, but I feel like your face being close to the ground seems less advantageous than it
I
being.
mean, you are going to get kicked
Yeah,
in the face more.
that's what I'm saying.
true.
Like it doesn't. It seems like if it's a good idea to run our hands, that maybe we'd be able to do that. But actually, our heads being up above the kicking ground might actually be a good thing. I mean, it is a cool
Do you
trick.
think if you threw your frisbee into your feet and you started running in your hands, they'd call foul to you?
Probably
Okay.
the sticklers.
Because it's still movement.
Yeah, the sticklers
Okay.
would. I usually can come up with some reason to be the opposite, but I just, other than just being the cool factor, it would be cool to be able to run as fast on your hands, and I don't know. Maybe you could maybe you could run like low to the ground, like because you could just instead of straight up and down, maybe you could do it like at a
Or
horizontal.
like you'd be running plank style?
Yeah.
Like a rocket?
Yeah,
Like your fingers are just
Right.
little rocket boosters?
yeah.
That'd be crazy.
I think that's what I'm going to go with. That's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be running horizontally, so you're hard. You've got a low profile, like an F1 car,
Like a spear.
and your
F1 car.
and your face, and your face is the thing that smashes into pigs. That's not
you're-
as good.
Oh, I see. So you're like running on your like this direct, like
Right.
head first.
Right.
Oh, I was
With your
picturing feet
hands.
first,
Oh,
like like
That's-
javelin
that's-
style, or
that seems none of that seems comfortable. Which is like when you said like a spear, it's like, well, yeah, but your face is kind of the
No,
tip
I was-
of the spear. And
somehow I was thinking like your feet would be going first.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this is Fast and Furious where we just press the red button and anything can happen, right?
Yeah. Hit the nos. Hit the nos. All right. Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world, or be able to talk to animals?
Oh, okay.
The rule is
you
obviously
get to pick, though. You
yes, I get to
first.
pick, but the rules obviously are. In this case, the language you can't speak, if you can speak every language, is the one that animals speak. Like you can't, like that's you. Even though you can speak every language, you can't also speak to animals. So I'm just
Okay.
making that
I mean,
as a
that's-
rule. Just trying to.
Good clarification for
Yeah.
those people that think animals have a language. Animals don't have a
Animals have
language.
all kinds of languages.
No, they don't.
Any other questions? Any other things you want to discuss with us?
It's just talking.
Speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Communication.
Okay.
All right. So man, speaking every language would be cool, but I mean, if animals could speak, and I'm imagining that they could actually hold a conversation,
Okay.
like
Yeah, like.
I don't know, just like the dog is not just going, yeah, bark. I'm barking. Like he's not like
Right,
it's not
right,
always.
right.
But he's actually like saying something. I think talking to animals would be very interesting.
Okay. You're going to animals.
I'm going animals. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I will give you it because my first thought was you could, if you can talk to animals, you can reason with animals.
Right.
Which therefore you can get them to do something that you want them to do, possibly.
Yeah, unless they're cats. You don't reason with cats.
Well, you could tell them to go away.
Yeah, they might listen.
That's true. But you could call the dogs.
Mm.
Tell the dogs, hey, these cats keep bothering me, so
Yeah.
keep coming over. Anyway,
Create a real
so
animal war.
I understand. I understand
Okay.
your okay. I understand. why
Cool
you-
factor. Cool factor would be
The cool
it'd
factor
be
is
interesting to talk to animals, and yeah, just kind of get their because they're gonna have a weird. I think they're gonna have a unique perspective on life. I think it'd be cool to get that from them.
up there. Okay. You know what else has a unique perspective on life?
People.
People.
How did I
And
know
if
that?
I'm going anywhere in the world and I can talk to anyone, that would just be awesome. Because Hannah and I are going to the Dominican Republic. I am trying to brush up on my Spanish. Because I do want to be able to talk to people there. So,
I do think, yeah, I do think understanding every single language would just be so fun.
yeah. Do you think you would? So a few years ago, there were missionaries that decided to go visit an
Unreached people group.
unreached people group and
Mhm.
got speared. I'm sure it happens more than what
Right.
I know about, but
Right.
the one that I know about happened a few years ago and it got in the news somehow because he wasn't supposed to be there or something.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think you would be found in that space?
Whew. I mean, like you just bring a whole spiritual thing into that because it's like if you can do that, I think you like knowing that we are carrying the truth of the gospel that you would have to do like you'd feel at least somewhat obligated. I think like I don't know if obligated is right, but just empowered to be able. Yeah, I can speak their language and I'm the only one who can. Then other than amongst themselves, then I think that I would want to do that.
Mhm.
And maybe speaking their language, I won't go speared to death. And if they do, I can run on my hands, and that'll probably freak them out.
like a weird lizard running horizontally, like a weird. What is that guy?
Wait.
What is that guy doing?
What is going on?
He's speaking our language and he's running on. He's definitely dying for sure.
And here's Jim writing things down with his feet.
I've got my feet drawings.
So yes, I think that I feel like the Jesus answer is yeah. I think if you had that ability, I think you've got to feel at least somewhat of a pull or a draw to do that. So what do you think? It's your power. I've given it to you. You can speak all
that's
language.
true. Yeah, I think I would probably. I don't know if I'd be brave enough to go to the stabbery kind of tribes, but I think I would find the places in the world that are like having problems because of language barriers
Yeah,
and try and help.
yeah. All right, well, enough of that serious stuff.
All right.
Would
Yeah,
you
yeah.
rather have two long front teeth like beavers or no teeth at all? So apparently your
Whoa.
options here are two teeth like a beaver,
Two big beaver teeth.
two big beaver teeth, or no teeth at all.
Oh, I get to choose.
And you get to choose.
Can dental replacements happen? As in, not you can't pull them out, obviously, because if you choose two big
could
teeth,
you add teeth to
yeah.
two big teeth?
If I have no teeth, can I put dentures in?
No,
Okay.
but I think you can add teeth. That would be my rule. Like, 'cause if you have the big two teeth and you want to add a few other teeth, I'm okay with that because you can have teeth.
Okay.
Versus just you can't have teeth.
Okay.
Dentures, no dentures allowed. You're allergic to
Do you
all
have
dentures.
an overbite like a beaver?
I think you would have to.
So you can close your mouth and you can chew. Like, it's not detrimental to like your health, really.
Right.
It's just gaudy.
Yeah, you're gonna be sane a lot.
You're gonna be Mr. Bucktooth.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be pronounced enough, right? Like it's not.
Right.
It's gonna be there, even though you can close your mouth. It's still gonna be obvious that you have them.
That's a hard one.
Well, you've had a little experience of this because when you broke your jaw, you got to drink like a Mr. Mike sub. So you've had some experience of not having teeth.
Yeah, not having teeth is really awful. I think that just pushed me over the line. I think I'm going Bucktooth. I think I would rather be known as the guy with big beaver teeth than have them not in my face.
Yeah.
And because...
Yeah.
Okay, because if you smile, it's coming out. I mean, like, either one of them are going to be shown. So you can't hide them. I mean, you can kind of hide them.
Yeah.
And I guess it'd be easier to hide the front teeth less person. Or it'd be easier for them to hide. But I've known people with missing teeth. And as soon as they start talking, you see it.
Okay.
So
Fair point. This is a fair point.
So I think the thought of, well, which one can I hide better is not. That's not really up there.
Yeah. Well, the no teeth is. It's a double. This is not good.
And I think I could do way cooler things with two. I mean, think of the party tricks.
Yeah.
I could open a can of soda.
Yeah.
With my teeth.
Yeah.
I mean, just like gunt, bonk.
I'm really getting the bad ones tonight. Like, I
cool.
can't think of any reason why no teeth would be a better experience. Because you like as you said, you're gonna have something weird going on with your mouth. Whether you have bug teeth, you got no teeth, you got something weird going on.
Yeah.
And B, no teeth means you can't chew food, so you can't have things like brisket and steak and.
Well, you could have that stuff because you could. Well, yeah, it'd be hard you'd have to cut it and shove it straight to the back of your mouth.
All I can think of is there's this Saturday Night Live skit where Will Ferrell, I think it's Will Ferrell, he can't chew or he can't, and so he has to feed his child, like he has to feed the other person like a baby bird, and so he chews up some food and then like spits it into the other person's mouth. That's all I could think of when you're like, yeah, just have really, just like
yeah. Somebody's got to chew it up for you,
and then deliver it like a mama bird into your mouth. Again, I'm not winning the argument here with why with no.
Yeah, I had my jaw wired shut. I've drank some strange things through a straw, and it's not good.
Oh, two more. All right, we got two more here.
All right.
Would you rather?
Whose turn is it?
You got to choose because you got buck teeth, and
yeah.
I got no teeth at all. Would you rather have? Oh, this is a hard one, man. Would you rather have 100 duck-sized elephants, or one elephant-sized duck?
Oh, I've heard this one before. Okay.
100 duck-sized elephants or one elephant-sized duck. I'm gonna have to say that I'm going with 100 duck-sized elephants because
Oh, you got me.
one one elephant-sized duck sounds terrifying. Like it just makes me scared. Like
Okay. I don't know where you'd put it in this apartment. I don't know where you're putting 100 elephants, but at least they're duck size.
I'll keep them at camp. Don't worry. You can,
Even 100 duck size elephants. I mean,
the smell. Ugh.
that would be terrible.
That's not. The downside of 100 duck size elephants is this: 100 of anything, you got to feed them, and you got to have a place to keep them. But they don't terrify me like an elephant sized duck. I don't know why. Like an elephant doesn't terrify me. Like elephant is an elephant size. I'm okay with that. But an elephant sized duck.
I could see an elephant sized duck attacking a human for sure.
Yeah.
Because they do like to eat things that are smaller than them.
Yeah.
So, however,
okay,
living here in central Illinois, along the Illinois River,
yeah,
where duck hunting is one of the most popular hunting in the, I would have kind of the best mascot
okay,
for all the duck clubs.
yeah.
I would rent him out. We would go.
Okay.
We would fly around.
Describe to me in your head what your duck looks like. Because I'm going to tell you what mine looks like here in a moment. But I want to hear what your duck looks like. Describe
It's an elephant-sized mallard duck, male mallard duck. That big green thing
colors,
around his neck.
Uh-huh.
And, I mean, they're pretty. I don't know. Maybe I'll pick a different, prettier duck. But that's what I have in my... Whenever you say duck, I just instantly start thinking mallard.
Because all I can think of is an elephant-sized rubber duck.
Oh, you were picturing a big...
this big yellow duck.
Yellow ducky thing. Okay. I mean, that would be way less menacing. I don't understand why that's scary to you.
It's still scary to me. Because it can move. It's a live duck, but it's just one huge rubber duck that can chase you.
Oh, okay.
It sounds scary to me. I don't know.
I mean,
as we were talking about like duck clubs, I was like, oh, it's probably not a rubber duck.
Yeah, no. I was picturing an elephant-sized mallard duck.
Mm.
Mallard.
That might be more scary to me now that I think about that as I try to picture.
Oh, yeah. He'll eat you. If he's the size of an elephant, he's coming after your kids for sure.
Which reminds me of another Saturday Night Live skit where The Rock Johnson plays Bambi and takes on the hunters, and that's what I like.
I think I remember that one.
Wham, bam, Bambi.
I do remember that one.
It's because it's got fake Vin Diesel where he's like, he's Thumper.
Yeah.
He's like, why do they call you Thumper? Always thumping.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always something. No, I'm always thumping.
Mm.
I don't have family. I have a herd. All right. Like 3 people, you and I, and maybe one other person's going to get any of those references.
It's going to go way back.
Oh.
YouTube SNL from, I don't know, 100
Will
years
Ferrell
ago.
feeding like a baby bird and Bambi. Dwayne Johnson does Bambi. Both worth the watch. All right, last one. I just had it. Now I gotta come back down because I forgot what it was. Oh man.
I could have rides on this. If it's the size of a elephant, I bet it could fly with me on its back. That'd be pretty sweet.
I mean, you're not wrong. I found it. Okay. Thanks for
What's
for
the
stalling.
movie with the eagles and the Lord of the Rings thing that I was?
Yeah.
That's,
Or a never-ending story. Okay, so sidebar.
Never ending story. That wasn't it. That was like a
It's like
Bear.
a dog. It was a
Oh,
dog dragon,
Dog dragon thing. Yeah, yeah.
which I also found terrifying.
Yeah, I think I saw that movie as a little tiny kid, and it
Yeah.
scared me.
All right, here we
Once.
go. Would you rather a ding sound every time you wink, or a pow pow sound every time you make a finger gun? A ding every time you wink, like ding,
Oh.
or pow pow every time you make a finger gun.
Oh. Okay.
I try to choose on that one. Is it my turn? Yeah, no, it's your turn. I got
Is
to
it my
choose the
turn?
duck.
Oh,
I got to choose the duck.
You chose the duck.
Mhm.
Okay. I think I won with the duck, though.
Well, I
I'm being
mean,
sorry.
it would still be super cute to have like
100
100
duck-sized.
duck-sized elephants
I mean,
just
a
like
duck is-
running around
Yeah.
like little.
So,
elephant.
if you were thinking are you thinking rubber duck size? Like little,
No,
like
no,
little tiny, or
I
you were
was
actually...
imagining like little like what it would look like baby elephants just running around,
Okay,
but they'd be elephants, like real adult
Yeah, yeah,
elephants,
yeah.
but tiny.
okay.
Tiny things are cute. Big things
That's
are scary.
true. That's true. I mean, sure.
Pow pow. Or
I've
Ding!
never seen an attractive possum, but okay. Okay, Winker.
What if he was real
Winker
tiny?
Fingers. Have you seen them smile at you? They
yeah, it'd be cute if he was real tiny.
No,
like,
it wouldn't.
look at the little tiny little
No.
guy.
no,
No. Okay. All right.
they're a baby alligator is cuter than a possum.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Would you rather have a ding sound every time you wink,
How loud is this ding sound?
like very noticeable?
Okay, so
It's not just
it's
like
all very noticeable.
yeah.
So like
Yeah.
whatever room you're in,
People are like
pretty
he
much
just
the whole
he
room
just winked. They know when
just
you
knows.
wink. Yeah.
Okay.
Or pow 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 sound every time you make a finger
Definitely
gun.
doing the pow pow.
Or maybe if it's happened in life, like that sounds like a lot of good fun. Like just,
Yeah.
just being like
Here's your challenge.
pow pow.
For the next 2 weeks, you have to audibly say pow pow every time you point, make a finger gun. My daughter already plays that game at her work, actually. They can't shoot each other, so they just say gotcha, and they have to like hold out their hand. Like they can't make a finger gun. They got to hold out something.
So
Oh, well, that's
Jen's
something we
Jen's
should
phone is ringing.
take care of.
So I can't remember the last time I winked. Do you wink often? Like
I don't wink often.
because I feel like that's
But
like the
I feel like when I do wink, I don't want the room to know that I'm winking.
I think that this is actually the perfect one for us because I want the ding because it reminds me of like some sitcom somewhere where the character winks and he's like ding because you're like as it's like the oh yeah we're all in on it now and it's like that like
I
little
gotcha.
noise and so I love the pow pow too. I'm not gonna say I don't love that, but I do
Right.
think that the comedic ding I definitely would own that.
I mean, it would. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it would solidify all of your winks to just be that.
Which are what all my winks are anyway. I don't know that I have a different wink. I don't like. I don't think. Because I think if I'm winking, I'm usually like and so
Okay.
instead of saying the
Right.
which
You
is a
have
very Conan O'Brien sound. I think I just turned into Conan O'Brien. He's winking, see? So instead, it'd be like ding,
Okay.
which also I think. As now that I think about it, it's actually probably the sound Conan O'Brien makes when he winks. So I just want to be Conan O'Brien.
All right. Moving on up to the comedy life.
That's what I want to be. So I've just discovered that winking.
You'd have to be a lot taller.
I would, and also a lot more Catholic, but
That's true.
and redheaded, and I'm not that. So I won't be the next Conan, which is okay.
Okay. Ding.
But ding, ding.
No, pew pew is way to go. Pretty sure.
All right, next 2 weeks, you know what you got to do.
I gotta yell pew pew every time I make a finger gun. Pew
Pew,
pew.
pew, pew. I mean,
Okay.
it's
okay.
there. All right. So, on to the next nonsensical topic. I
Oh,
prepared you for this.
We're gonna keep going. Okay.
I
okay.
prepared you for this.
Oh yes.
So you already told me you have.
Yes, I'm ready for this one.
All right. So let's. So in general, I'm just gonna say up front, I am not a huge proponent of food waste, and so I'm not necessarily championing this because I think that we should waste a bunch of food. But if that being said, now that we get that out of the way,
Okay.
if you were going to do a food challenge, what challenge would it be, and what food would it consist of that you think you could complete? Like
Okay.
You think you could do it, or at least make a good try. You can make a good college try to it.
Okay. So
Yes.
so I go to Boundary Waters every September.
Yes.
On the way out this year, we went to a new restaurant. We
Okay.
found a burger joint
All right.
because
Burgers are good.
after a week in the wilderness, a burger is about the best thing you can have. And so, sorry to all your vegans out there, tough. A burger beats everything. So, anyway, so we found this burger place. This burger place has 2
Okay.
challenges.
All right.
The first challenge is like a crazy hot, spicy
Okay.
burger.
Okay.
So it might be slightly bigger than a normal burger. I don't remember if it was bigger or not. But it has like all of the hot peppers on it, like super hot peppers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's one challenge that I thought about. I'm not really into the burn my face off hot.
Yeah.
So I didn't. The other challenge that the entirety of the group that I was with was convinced I could do
Okay.
was a 6-pound hamburger
Yeah.
with a pound of cheese on top of it.
Gosh.
And you gotta eat it. So the spicy one you gotta eat in like I don't remember. It was like 30 minutes or an hour.
Right.
So we'll just say 30 minutes.
You said to burn your
who
face
cares?
off because
Yeah.
you're stuffing spice in.
Yeah. So you got to burn your face off.
Mhm.
You got to do it in 30 minutes.
Okay.
The 6-pounder, I think they gave you like an hour,
Okay.
maybe even longer. I don't remember. But there again, no one cares. It's in Ely, so go find it.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do a podcast
But-
from there.
Ever since, I will be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It is now almost November, and
Mhm.
I have been thinking about this 6-pound hamburger and if I could actually do it. 6 pounds of hamburger.
Mm.
Can you actually shove that much food into your face?
Well, you eat really fast. So
And that's why all the guys were like, you could probably do this, because I had my hamburger done by the time one of the guys had taken 2 bites and I was done with mine.
Well, I know some of the guys you went with, and I know one of them is the slowest eater in the world, so that's not surprising.
True. I mean, that is true.
But you do eat fast. You do regularly finish when we go eat places. You are done before I've even started to cut things on my plate.
I agree. Actually, so unbeknownst to me, I happen to know that it has been revealed to me that you, sir, and another intern at camp had a bet every
Ooh.
time that we went out to dinner or lunch and somebody new joined us.
Mm-hmm.
You would capture them and say, if you beat Jim at finishing your meal, we'll pay for your meal or something like that.
And you know how many times we had to do that? 0.
That's what I found out. All of that was new to me. That was revealed to me on this Boundary Waters trip. And I was like, huh.
It was a safe bet. That's
I
all I'm
never
saying.
knew.
It was a safe bet.
I never knew that was a challenge. And yeah,
It was a safe bet. That's all I'm saying. So
and now Travis is trying to beat me every time we eat together.
I and see that's my problem with like the speed of the challenges. Like the whole food challenge, like a 6-pound burger sounds like if it's really good, if it's really delicious,
It sounds terrible to me.
it sounds like more and more of like
6
this good
pounds?
stuff. But you've got to eat. Like you just got to keep going. It's almost like you don't
That's
even need to
12
taste it.
regular hamburgers. I mean, like, the 12, I mean, gourmet is usually about a half pound. Like, if you go
Yeah.
out to a steak place,
Right.
you're usually getting a half pound.
Yeah. But
That's
a pound of cheese
12 of them.
and a pound of cheese on top
And
of that.
then a pound of cheese, plus the bun, plus all the, I mean,
Did you have to eat like fries too, or is it just the burger?
I think it's just the burger.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
But it's $50
For
That's-
pain,
for,
you're going to hurt.
oh, you're gonna hurt. You're gonna hurt.
Mm.
So, but I would say that is a challenge that I've been thinking about. Both of them, actually. The heat one, I think I could talk somebody into the heat one.
Not me.
Not you. No, I'm not that. No, I think one of the guys that came on the Boundary Water, Jesse, loves
Yeah.
hot stuff and
Yeah.
eats all of all of the peppers that they listed.
Mm.
He was like, "Oh, I eat all those regularly," and so I kind of wanted to see him eat that hamburger,
Yeah.
but I was not willing to put up the $50.
No. No.
So that's the food challenge. You said what food challenge?
Yeah. Do you think you like?
I think because I love hamburgers, I think that would be the food challenge for me.
So the two things that I think would be difficult. So I'll just one is putting that much meat in your stomach.
Yeah,
In an
you're gonna
hour.
hurl. You are going to hurl.
That much meat plus a pound of cheese in your stomach,
Mm-hmm.
plus chewing that much. Like even if you could say that you could eat a regular burger, let's say 5 bites, and that's pushing it because you're really stuffing. I mean, that's still so much chewing. Like that's like you're.
It's a.
Your
I mean, it's
face
a
would hurt.
solid hour of eating. I mean, you're going to eat for a solid hour.
Yeah.
I just don't think. I think it's too much for my body. I don't think. I think my body would be like, "You're done."
Yeah. I mean, I have done a long time ago. A long time ago. I think I was like 21. 20? I don't know. I tried to do the gallon milk challenge, which if you don't know what that is, and this is not a real food challenge.
Yeah, don't do it.
It's you try to drink a gallon of milk in an hour, and you do it usually with a youth group, and usually the hurling starts about 30 minutes in when somebody's had so much milk that
That's
they
been
just
my
start.
experience with it. Not that I did it, but I was at somebody's house and some teenager was like, "I'm doing the gallon challenge." We were like, "Don't."
But then you have like the waterfall effect, because if one person starts doing like,
Mm-hmm.
or even just starts making the sound, somebody else is all like, "Oh, they got me,"
Mm-hmm.
even if they're not sick. And so I tried. I did not finish the gallon. I had chocolate milk, which I actually determined was a worse choice because it was so sweet. Like to try to drink that much sweet milk I like chocolate milk. I'm not against it, but I was just like, in an hour, I just couldn't do it. So I didn't throw up. So I will say I didn't, but I also didn't finish the gallon. So
Well, you can't. I mean,
you're not supposed to be able to.
yeah.
Humanly, you're
Yeah,
not supposed to.
I don't think it's. Whatever. If you can, congratulations.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
a lot of milk to be putting in your body.
So, yeah, I think that if I was gonna do, see, and this is what I haven't found the challenge yet that I really would do, but I think it would be like Krispy Kreme donuts. I think that's the most interesting challenge to me.
Okay, like how many you could eat?
Yeah. Yeah. Or having to eat so many, like, especially if they're fresh. But I mean, they're so soft that like you wouldn't even have to have teeth.
That's true. I mean, if you're talking about hot Krispy Kreme, like straight off the belt,
Yeah.
you're going to put away a lot of them.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
I would argue that you're probably going to feel worse than what I would feel eating 6 pounds of hamburger and a pound of cheese.
I don't know. Why would I feel worse?
Because not only is your stomach gonna be like, you just put that much. I mean, there again.
I'm not saying I won't. I'm just like, because it just feels
Right.
like that much hamburger just feels super heavy and uncomfortable.
It'll be heavy, but imagine how good that crap is gonna feel.
Not if you eat the spicy one.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Anyway,
no.
I just think on top of your stomach being packed full of bread,
yeah,
you're also going to have a major sugar rush and crash.
Yeah.
Like your body is just going to go into like super shock.
I'm not arguing with you. I wanted to hear the reasons. I need to hear. I
don't think. I agree. I think it would be a different kind of pain because I think the hamburger and cheese is just going to be something super heavy, and you're going to feel full of grease. And I feel like that's just a more lethargic, I can't move kind of thing. Where being full of donuts is just going to be, your stomach is going to hurt. You're going to do a couple laps around the restaurant. And then you're going to crash so hard, you're going to wake up and like just...
You mean a sugar coma? Just like...
After you wake up, you won't even feel rested. You'll feel just like bloated and gross, and because your stomach will still be full of bread.
But what if you cut the donuts with black coffee?
I mean, I get it. That's what I would have to do, because that is way too much sugar for me. What if they're just plain donuts?
Yeah. You mean like... What if like
unfrosted, plain? It's not really a Krispy Kreme anymore, then.
No, but I mean, there's a donut out there that like what you could do like the cinnamon sugar one that doesn't have frosting on it, but it's got like a sprinkling of sugar and cinnamon on it or something like that.
Mm-hmm. See, that would be more bearable. I think your recovery time would be way less than mine.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I just. So,
but how many? Okay. But I would also have better bragging rights. I ate 6 pounds of hamburger and a pound of cheese. How many donuts would you have to eat to compare to that?
I don't know, 6 dozen?
6 dozen donuts?
That'd be a lot.
That would be a lot.
I mean, I'd be willing to try just to have the same bragging rights. I don't want to lose.
I mean, that's true. You don't want to be second best. Not to Hamburger Joe.
Not to 5 pound clean bill. 6 pound clean bill. You could do it going into the Boundary Waters and then not eat until you come back out of the Boundary Waters.
Yeah, but that's extra weight to Portage. You just added 7 pounds to what you got to carry.
No, you start with 7 pounds. You won't end with 7 pounds.
That's true. I mean, it's probably coming out 3 days in. It's probably going to take a while for your body to digest all of that. All right.
Because the other side of it is...
What about pizza? What kind of pizza challenge would you do?
Yeah, I'm not...
Remember that gigantic pizza that we got at that one, whatever that place was?
Oh, yeah. We were in Springfield?
No, we were here in Peoria.
In Peoria?
We got 2 of them because they made one wrong. Remember that?
Oh, that was Cheese Nuts. That's closed now. Oh, that's sad. The one that was like 4 pizzas in one?
Yeah. Would you do like a giant pizza challenge, or would you do...
That one I could.
A thick pizza challenge? Like
no.
A deep dish.
I can't do a deep dish.
Okay.
I can't do deep dish anyway, so like I'm a deep dish hater. So
okay.
But that that cheese nuts pizza, that fire kind of thinner crust, I probably could eat that whole thing. Yeah, I would go with that. One
Okay.
of those.
You can go with one of those gigantic ones.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Because it was like four. It was like four of their largest, just all stuffed
Yeah,
together.
you could get whatever
Yeah.
pizza. Yeah.
I would do that.
What would be?
Oh man.
So you have to have 4 different pizzas.
Yeah.
Each pizza has to have at least 2 toppings.
All right.
What are
I
your
mean, obviously Canadian bacon and pineapple gonna be on there. Some kind of barbecue, so that's gonna be chicken and onions. Classic pepperoni and sausage, and then, oh man, what would the last one be? I really like the like maybe some olives and sun dried tomatoes. That would be
Okay.
delicious. So
Okay.
it would be a little bit journey from each.
You just
Each
do like
one.
a continuous spiral.
Yeah,
Start on the outside and just kind of keep going in.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think I would try it. There's just certain things like I don't like. So at Amarillo, they have like a 72-ounce sirloin steak that you can try to eat,
Okay.
and I think that I would want to enjoy it too much that I wouldn't want to be like, let me just mosh through this. Like I don't think I could do the speed part of it because I'd be like, I like this. This is good steak. I don't want to just shove things down my throat. And so that's my problem with like that's why I think donuts. I think I could do it because I'd be like, no, I've had it. I mean, I've had a donut. I can have another donut. I'm not.
Donuts are good.
They're good, but I'm not like, oh, I'm
You're
sad
not
that
savoring the
I'm
donut.
sad that I'm not savoring this donut or
Sure.
like even a burger would be hard because I think like I still would say like I like to enjoy and not just inhale 6 pounds of meat, but the chewing part of that too, like your mouth has got to be like your jaw would be so sore after
I mean, a hamburger is a hamburger. You just
after 6 of them and a pound of cheese. Well, okay, let me ask this: Is it? How did they prepare it? Did they
I
give
don't
you
know.
like a
I've
picture?
never seen it. No.
Okay, what are you imagining?
I'm imagining one giant
Just
hamburger.
one huge patty.
Yeah.
See that sounds less appealing to me than like 6 individually prepared. Because how can you cook a 6-pound hamburger patty well? That would be my like to where it
Okay.
would taste like that. It wouldn't just be like a slog or a chore to get through that.
It's gonna be a chore to get through. I don't care how you prepare it.
But if it's 6
You're eating
individual,
6 pounds of hamburger.
but if it's 12 individual burgers, then at least I know that they can be cooked to the like better perfection than
Yeah, but you can cook 6 pounds. I mean, I
you
don't.
can.
I don't know
But
how
I
you
want to
do
eat it. I don't know. So, all right. Well, those are challenges that Jim might do yours. I don't know. Is the next time? Next time you're coming out, come take $50 with you and.
Ely? You want to go up to Ely and do a 50-pound burger?
I absolutely would have to go into training. I absolutely don't think I could even get close right now.
I don't think I could either. I've gotten old, so the amount that I eat is way less than what I used
Yeah.
to.
I mean,
I still eat fast,
yes, you do.
but I do think that it's also emphasized how fast I eat because I'm eating less than what I used to.
I mean, if you had a distribution chart of like the bell curve of like whether buffets, like a pizza buffet, is making money on me, like in an early age, I'd be winning.
Yeah.
But I'm approaching the other side where it's like, that's a fair deal. We're both.
I agree. I agree.
I'm tipping now. I'm afraid to the other side of like, I shouldn't pay that because the pizza buffet wins because I'm not eating enough pizza to justify. The one place I would say is not true is if we go to Tom Lynn's because I'm going to eat enough egg rolls, chicken
That's
egg
true.
rolls
The egg rolls are coming.
to equal whatever I paid for that buffet.
Yeah. That's only because egg rolls are crazy expensive.
That's true, but still, I would eat enough
That's true.
and crab rangoons to more than make up for the buffet. But I am getting on the other side of that where it's like, oh, I had a plate. I don't. You know, I don't know if I can go back for a second. Like
Right.
that was not even used to be. That was not even a question. So I've gotten old, and so but it. I still like the idea. Like, is it good food? Because I think that makes it. If you're gonna do a food challenge, it needs to be good, and because you need that to keep going. But then on the other side of me, I'm like, but would that ruin? Like, I'd actually want to savor and enjoy the food, and so if I eat it in 5 minutes. Is that
Yeah, but
happening?
you're talking 6 pounds of hamburger with a pound of cheese over the top of it. There's no good anymore. That's just slogged through it.
Do you get to choose the cheese? Like, what kind of cheese is it?
I don't know.
What kind of cheese would you choose?
What would I choose?
Yeah. If you had your choice, you get your drithers. What
Oh.
cheese would you put on it?
Well, if it's just a hamburger,
Yeah.
if we're just talking a hamburger,
Uh huh.
I'm going cheddar cheese.
6 pounds cheddar
'Cause-
cheese, a pound of cheddar.
Yeah.
Sharp, mild,
Yeah,
sharp, very
sharp.
sharp.
Yeah. Super sharp cheddar cheese. Because
Okay.
that's what goes on a hamburger.
Okay. And,
Yeah.
and an apple pie.
The smarter choice
Yeah.
is probably a different cheese.
I mean, strategically, okay. So now you're gonna be smart. What choice?
No, I don't know what that is. I mean,
Velveeta. That's
like is a pound of Parmesan cheese? Is that better than sharp cheddar? I feel like it's less greasy.
I feel like it's gonna be like dry. Like a pound of Parmesan in your mouth is gonna just like be like just dry. I don't.
Well, you're not eating the whole pound at once. It's
Well,
on top of the
I
hamburger.
know, but
So it's soaking up all that grease. But at least it's not adding to the grease. That's my. I don't think that would taste very good. It would taste like some weird Italian something or other. Like, I don't know what that would even taste like.
Well, what if it was a soft cheese like brie or something like that, or like it was like on a cheese spread that you could spread on top? Like
Okay. I mean,
that might be that might both moisten the hamburger and keep your mouth from.
I don't think you need to moisten 6 pounds of
I think
hamburger.
it's got to be dry. You can't cook
It's
6
not
pounds.
gonna-
It's got to be dry.
It's not going to be dry. It's going to be so full of fat.
They're gonna have to cook the outside so hard to get the inside to. I mean, unless they got a special 6-pound cooker, and maybe they do, but I'm just saying that if you're cooking,
It's just a giant flat top. You can cook. I mean, 6 pounds of hamburger. That's
I guess it's been. I guess I would need to see a picture of it to be able to truly understand the properties that it would contain. Because I'm thinking of like a 6-pound, like not much bigger than your regular, like a pan pizza, like your deep dish pizza, but burger size.
it. Might be pretty similar,
To which I would think that the burger, like cooking that much burger in that dense
but it's
of a
not going to be
space-
thick.
That's what I
mean.
Okay. Well, that's because I'm thinking thick. Like I'm thinking like it actually is like it's
No,
like a cake.
I
Like
think
like
if you spread 6 pounds of hamburger out
okay.
to the size of a large deep dish,
Okay. Flat, not like
I think you can get it
Like a
almost
pizza
like a
pan.
regular half
Like-
a pound burger.
like a
thickness.
pizza pan
Yeah.
thickness. So
Yeah.
it's okay. I could see where that would be a little bit tastier. I definitely am thinking more of like it's like a layer of cake, like
Oh, like a big
just like
fat.
like just one big patty that looks like it's a piece of cake.
Yeah, no. I wasn't picturing that at all. I was picturing one giant flat hamburger.
A smashed burger.
Yeah, some kind of 6 pounds of ham. But I don't
Okay.
know. Maybe that's why they don't give you a picture, so that you spend the $50 so that you can at least see it.
Do you get a shirt?
You do get a shirt if you finish it.
Do you get a picture on the wall?
I think so.
I mean,
If you lose,
mm,
you get a bumper sticker or something that says I'm a loser or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was something.
how long of a trip is
Silly.
this? When are we going? When is this? Is
It's
this
like Ely, Minnesota, so it's 10 hours
10
to
hours?
get there.
is this a sabbatical trip that we're gonna take? Sue and I gotta go. We're gonna make our monastery journey to.
How much is 6 pounds of burger? We could just do it here. We don't have to travel.
If I'm going to do it, I'm going to
You
the
want the
place.
T-shirt? Okay.
I want the T-shirt or the bumper sticker.
All right.
And
all right.
and
I'd be amazed if they stay open all winter long.
Yeah.
Because it's Ely.
we may have to plan. We may have to put some plans into motion.
All right. Well,
Uh,
like I said, I'm coming out of the Boundary Waters in a year.
yeah. I'll just
So
meet you there.
meet me there. And we'll see what happens.
It's just gonna drive 10 hours for my burger.
This is a burger challenge.
I mean, I
Talk about a waste.
mean, I drove to Branson to eat at Fuddruckers, so it
Why?
wouldn't be beyond. Why?
Just Fuddruckers?
Yeah.
There are so many that are closer, aren't there?
So here's the thing. It was COVID, and restaurants were just opening, and the South was much more open than Illinois or the North or Wisconsin was at the time. And I got this crazy idea. Sunday morning, I just woke up and I was like, I want Fuddruckers. And so there used to be a Fuddruckers in Janesville, Wisconsin. It closed. Not there anymore. And so I was like, okay, well, where's the closest one? And the closest one just happened to be in Branson. And so then it became like, I've never been to Branson. And, I mean, it was COVID in summer, and we weren't doing anything because camp was not open. And so it was like, but Branson is kind of open. And it wasn't really. Like, they had no shows going. They had, I mean, it was a ghost town as ever that Branson will be. But Fuddruckers had just opened their dining room. And so we were like, all right, cool. And so we got some cheap deal to go down and stay in a condo or whatever. And so Callie and I just drove down there. Like, we just, we booked it the morning of and drove down in the afternoon. We had Fuddruckers. We did like 3 escape rooms because they had they had a Christian escape room there, because of course it is, because it's Branson. So they had like a Paul and Silas escape room, which was not great. So sorry guys, but not good.
Do better.
Yeah, really.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was that's not there anymore. I mean, we've been back and they've changed the rooms and stuff. But we had like barbecue. It was really good. And then we found like a snow cone stand.
Well, what was it about Fuddruckers?
So
Because I've eaten Fuddruckers.
yeah,
It's an okay burger.
So Fuddruckers is kind of like Callie grew up, and that was a place that she went a lot with, like, I think her mom and her dad. Like, I think they just kind of went to Fuddruckers, and I was not like, it was much more popular of a restaurant in Texas than anywhere else. But it was just one of those things of like, I think I mean, honestly, I think it was the first restaurant we ever ate in. So, like, I picked you up from the airport. If you remember the timeline of events, like, I picked you and Tom up from the airport because you guys had just gotten back from India.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it was you and Tom. I think that was the trip. Maybe it was just you. But we stopped at Cracker Barrel on the way home.
Okay.
And that was the day before they shut down the world. Like,
oh, that was Argentina. That was just me.
Okay, yeah. I picked you up. Apparently, I picked you up from the airport quite a few times.
You have.
So, yeah, you were coming back from Argentina. Oh, that's when you went through customs in Miami.
Yeah.
Instead of Chicago, because
Yeah.
the customs in Chicago was like,
Yeah, we were
that
like
was
the
a 24-hour.
Yeah, we were like the last plane into Chicago.
Yeah.
It
And
was
so,
ridiculous.
we went to Cracker Barrel that on the way home. I don't think you even like were alive. You were just like, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And Callie was like, tell Jim not to lick anything. Like, because we had, I mean, at that
Right.
point, we had no, like...
The biggest story at that point was nobody had toilet paper.
Right. Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah. So
Because
So
when
that
we
was-
freak out, we gotta wipe our butts.
that was the restaurant we ate at. And then I don't think we ate another one until June. So that was like March to June. And then I was just like, yeah, I just want to go do something because we couldn't do camp. We weren't doing anything.
Right.
We were just being at home most of the time. So yeah, we took off, and Fuddrucker just happened to. I just catch me as like, I'm gonna do Fuddruckers. Where's the closest one? And like I said, we had gone to up to Madison kind of area, and so we'd gone through or we'd gone to somewhere. We'd gone through Janesville. It may not have been Madison. It may have been when we went to Minnesota, but. No, we didn't do that. Anyway, so I was like, oh, there's one up there, but it was closed, or they weren't serving dining.
Oh,
They were
sure.
only doing, carry out. And so it was like, well, Branson is open because the South was way more like,
Yeah.
come die with us. So, dying. Did I say die? So,
Yeah, but my question is,
why Fuddruckers? I know. It
just
was like
was.
it was
just was.
a memory from my past.
Okay.
And I was like, no, Callie likes it a lot more than I do. She likes it because they have cheese in a barrel. They've got that
Yeah,
cheese.
it's like a make your own hamburger place.
Yeah, nacho cheese sauce. She's like, I love that stuff. And I'm like, not a fan, but okay.
Sure.
So it just kind of became that like, oh, and then it's like when you get one of those.
So what are your
ideas.
top 10? Top
Okay.
3, top 5, top whatever. What are your top hamburger joints?
Oh man.
Including make it yourself.
Make it yourself.
I mean, if you go the make it yourself route, you got to tell
Yeah.
me how you're making it and what you're putting on it.
Let's see. I mean, to be like volume wise, I'm just gonna say Culver's is going to be like top.
Oh, you're so wrong. But okay.
I just
Okay.
I don't. And so here's the thing. I generally don't eat a hamburger at a restaurant.
Okay.
So like when we go, like if we were to go to, well, it's not Victoria's anymore, but when we used to go to Victoria's,
Sure.
more likely get the pork tenderloin.
Okay.
So Culver's reminds me most of my favorite restaurant in Texas, which is Whataburger.
Okay.
So, I have some peculiarities that I have about hamburgers. So let me give you my
Okay.
why I'm peculiar.
Okay.
I think the bun should stand up to the burger. So this is why, like Five Guys, I think they're fine. I just think that they're too greasy and their buns don't stand up. So by the time you're done trying to eat that burger, the bun has disintegrated, and
Okay.
that to me is a burger faux pas.
Okay.
Shouldn't happen. So Culver's does stand up. Maybe because it's super processed. I'm not
All right.
arguing.
I
I'm
mean,
not
I'll
arguing
give
like,
to
but
you.
it
I give
stands
to
up.
you. Okay.
In and Out doesn't stand up. The bun doesn't stand up to the burger. So you're left with like this weird juicy last bite where the bun is not there anymore.
Okay.
So they get knocked down the list. Nothing against In and Out. I think they're fine. I don't think they're as amazing.
I don't think I've ever eaten it. You know.
Well, you should. They're amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It's a good burger. It's an interesting concept. It's a minimal menu place. So like you basically can get a burger, a hot dog, and a shake.
Yeah, I remember them as a high schooler. I remember they opened an In-N-Out on the east side of Madison, and it was a big deal.
Yeah,
But they're not there anymore.
yeah.
Nor did I get all the way over to the east side. Because Madison is west side versus east side.
Where would I mean, so I think, and so that's for me, is like I just don't go places and get a burger, so it's hard for me to say that I would even, like it's not the first thing I navigate to
Okay.
when I eat somewhere for like I am more likely to get a buffalo chicken sandwich or a pork tenderloin.
Sure.
So
So your actual number one is your homemade
no,
hamburger?
I mean Culver, like just talking about
No?
volume, probably
Culver's?
Culver's.
Culver's is your
I
number one?
would, yeah.
Just a regular hamburger or cheeseburger? What do you go
The
for?
the double butter burger,
Okay.
I think.
So 2 patties,
Yeah,
cheese,
Yeah,
regular hamburger,
that's it.
stuff on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you have?
So-
Do you have a top 5? I mean, here I am. I will say, here I am,
You have
drinking
a
from a
Whataburger
huge water
giant
covered
jug.
and if you knew what Whataburger, I mean, you do know, you kind of know, but like I don't live near a
And-
Whataburger, and so when I go to Texas for Christmas this year, which I am going to Texas,
We did stop at a Whataburger.
I will eat a
I
Whataburger.
have had a Whataburger once, and I will agree. It does. It is very.
It's fine.
I mean,
It has nostalgia for me, but if you were gonna pull like press me on the it's fine. It's a fine burger.
That reminds me. So that's my number 2.
Okay.
Maybe my number 2 hamburger of all time
Okay.
is because it's Texas Dairy Queen.
Okay.
And let me clarify. Here in the Midwest, if you go to Dairy Queen and order a hamburger, you are getting maybe a 1/3 pound burger, 1/4 pound burger. I mean, it's not huge, right? It's just your average kind of microwave hamburger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, however they cook it. No disrespect to Dairy Queen. However,
Yeah.
we stopped at Whataburger on the way down, had hamburgers, because we've heard.
Yeah. It's a
then-
fine hamburger.
And then we were told that the hamburgers at Dairy Queen are bigger in Texas. And of course, us Midwesterners, the two of us that were there, were like, they can't be different. It's a chain. How can they possibly be different? So we went into a Dairy Queen. I ordered a hamburger, and it is like a gourmet hamburger. It's like it's definitely it's not actually like it reminded me of a sit down hamburger joint hamburger.
See, and this is what's interesting to me because I grew up in a town with a Dairy Queen because Dairy Queens in the South are like in Texas especially are like Subways in Illinois, like
They're everything.
they're everywhere. There's
Okay.
one in every. There's like if you're gonna have
Which
something,
makes sense why there was one in that town then.
yeah, you're gonna have that. And the Dairy Queen in the town I grew up in was the grossest place, and we did not eat there. That was not. Of course, we didn't eat in our town that we lived in either, because we lived in a small town and you just went home. But nonetheless, it was not seen as It was not the choice of burgers.
Oh, I'm not saying it wasn't gross. I'm saying
yeah.
the hamburger that they produced to me.
It's just hard for me to love to agree to a
I'm
because
So-
that's my background with it.
that might be my number. I said 2. That might be high,
'Kay.
but it's definitely up there
Oh man.
because I do think hamburger evaluation is very, very rooted in the full experience.
I'm
of your
changing.
hamburger.
I'm changing my number one.
Okay.
I'm gonna change to Freddy's.
Culver's got bumped
Yeah.
to Freddy's. I still
Yeah.
haven't had Freddy's.
Steak burger. I mean, they're their steak burgers kind of like Steak and Shake, but better.
Okay.
I think Steak and Shake again. I think the thing like with all of the things like Steak and Shake, Whataburger, Freddy's, it does depend a little bit on who the person is that owns the place and the person that's preparing, and whether or not they're a high quality supervision, and because it's a hit or miss because they are franchise places and it depends on who's cooking.
Sure.
But Freddy's is really good. So
Okay.
I changed that. Culver's is a second though.
I mean, I grew up right next to Culver's. I get it. I'm a Wisconsin kid. I know I should love
I'm
Culver's.
trying to give love to your hometown.
I
restaurant.
appreciate that. However, I don't know.
As a okay.
I think honestly, okay, so I think this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm falling out of love with fast food hamburgers.
Yeah.
And I'm getting way more into, because my number one is definitely the hamburger I grill myself.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to season it myself. I'm going to put whatever I want on there.
Yeah.
That's my number one.
Well, my problem is I don't have a grill. Like, I currently don't have any way to grill a hamburger, and so it's been a while. Although I do because I like to mix if I'm going to make a hamburger, I like to mix my ground beef with like a pound of pork too, like sausage. So it has kind of a sausagey So I do think that I do like mine the most when I get that. But at this time, I don't have access to being able to grill them, and so it goes further down my list because I don't have the ability to make them.
But see, that's still, this is why it's my number one, because I still would prefer a hamburger out of my fry pan
Yeah.
than just about any restaurant. Because at that very moment,
Yeah.
I can decide, do I want to put
A pound of cheese.
avocado on there? Do I want to put a pound of cheese on there? Do I want to put cheddar cheese? Do
Parmesan?
I want to put Parmesan? Brie?
Some Gouda?
I mean, I can...
Put some Gouda on there?
Yeah. So my number one is definitely my own hamburger. And I can't define how I make it because it changes every time I make it.
All right. As a Wisconsinite, change the subject slightly here.
Okay.
As a Wisconsinite, which you are,
Okay, I am from
will
Wisconsin.
you admit that cheese curds are just strange shaped mozzarella sticks?
No, that's very, very wrong.
It's not.
It is.
Not
It
at all.
is. It is wrong.
Fried cheese curds like Culver has.
No, wrong. They're cheddar. They're typically a
Okay,
cheddar,
okay.
or I mean, it's not a mozzarella
But
stick.
if we blindfolded you and cut up little pieces of mozzarella sticks and gave you cheese curds, could you tell the difference?
I bet I could.
Huh? Well,
I bet I could.
maybe that's the food challenge.
Maybe that's the food challenge. I bet I could. Because, yeah, cheese curds are typically a cheddar.
That's true, although that's not always the case. I'm not a huge. I've not tried them everywhere, but I will say the mass-produced ones like Culver's does remind me more of the mozzarella sticks you can get.
Yeah,
Because
it's a mild cheddar. It's not a
Yeah.
sharp cheddar. It's a
Yeah.
mild cheddar because everybody...
I realize there are other places because I've been to Wisconsin. I've been in restaurants where they're like, you need to try those cheese curds,
Also-
and they're like a fist, and then you're like, oh, that's different.
As somebody from Wisconsin,
Okay,
a fried cheese curd
Uh-huh.
is a fried cheese curd. A
okay.
cheese curd is
Freely-
just a regular piece of cheese.
I
mean,
amend-
it's just an untainted cheese curd. It's squeaky. You put them in your mouth.
I amend my mistake, my misspoken
I'm
of
just
a
saying.
cheese curd, and I label it only the fried cheese curd that you get at Culver's that they offer to serve with marinara sauce.
Yes. Most places will taint them by frying them and giving you some kind of sauces to put with them,
Okay.
which arguably also makes them taste better. But a cheese curd should be
Untainted. In its natural
not
habitat.
wrapped in bread,
Yeah.
not fried,
Okay.
squeaky, and just cheddar cheese.
Okay.
My wife likes the garlic ones. They do different flavors, so those the garlic ones tend to be more maybe mozzarella. Sometimes they're Monterey Jack cheese, things like that.
It's been a while. I've been at a couple of restaurants in Wisconsin where they're like, oh, cheese curds, homemade, and they're pretty good. And I don't necessarily. Those are definitely different breeds, but to me, as I talk about Culver's, as we start talking about that, that really.
All right, so
It really gives mozzarella stick.
Okay, I mean
It's really vibing on the mozzarella stick.
that's just because they taint them by breading them and
Right.
frying them, which is still a good, valid way to eat a cheese curd. I'm not
Yeah.
knocking it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying a pure cheese curd. If you're just going to say I'm eating cheese curds, those of us that know, the image in our head is a bowl
Could you eat a pound of cheese curds?
with cheese. Yeah, absolutely.
It's not even a challenge.
Oh, no.
You're gonna eat 2 pounds.
Yeah. Well, that might be pushing it, but a pound of cheese curds is not hard at all.
A pound of cheese curds on top of your 6-pound burger.
That's the question. Can we do that?
At home, you can.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even see. We just need somebody to make us T-shirts. We don't even need to go to Minnesota. Let's just.
That's what I'm saying. We just gotta
pick up
find somebody.
6 pounds of.
I bet my daughter would be all over this.
Yeah. Okay.
We could feed it to Rebecca, and
Oh,
she would make a big event out of it.
Sweet. I'm in. I'm in. All right. Let's close out things with a serious question.
Oh, shift into serious. Okay.
Yeah. What is it that you feel like God's teaching you right now?
That's a good one. So there's a lot of things that God is teaching me right now. I think one of the things that I've been noticing is that I'm asking as a person who has been doing his job for 17 years, and my family is growing, and I now have basically almost adult kids. I mean, they're going to start leaving the house soon and things like that. And having 3 right in a row, they're going to do that pretty quick. I find myself asking myself the same questions I've asked maybe right after or as I was approaching graduation in college. And by college, I mean master's, because just trying to figure out what life is and what that means. And so I'm asking the same kind of questions I've found. And so, that's me noticing where my head is and what God is doing through that.
Do you feel like you have better answers or different answers now? Because you feel like it's kind of transitory. Like finishing college or master's is a very transitory kind of thing, and you're not necessarily transitioning, but you are through kind of maybe a phase of life, not necessarily a new place or anything like that, but just kind of
right.
Do you feel like there are different ways that you now answer this or look at it, or is it kind of like it's similar because you're back to square one?
So the similarities are the questions I'm asking myself, and I don't know the answers to. Where do I go? What's my 5-year plan? What's my whatever? All those questions that you ask at the end of college.
Yeah.
What's the next step? What do I put my effort into? What are my interests? Like, what do I genuinely want to do? What are the things that are maybe I don't want to do but are necessaries? So the questions are the same.
Yeah.
There are a lot more caveats to them, because I'm not thinking about switching jobs. I'm not thinking about moving. I'm not thinking about, those are things that God continues to show me I'm where I need to be. And so it's just a different depth of asking those questions in my life. And so I think what God is producing out of that, we'll see, but I think what God is producing out of that is a deeper trust in Him. Just for Him to provide because I see. So now that I'm 40 something, I now see. I run in a circle that my friends have made life choices, and you can see kind of the end goal coming, or at least they're working out what they wanted their life to be. They've made their life choices. They've had their kids. They're now dealing with adult kids. And so I think I see my friends having made choices that make me question where God is in my life. And I find that interesting.
So unpack that a little bit. Like, tell me a little bit more about, like you said, it makes you question, like, what are you questioning? Like, where God's in your life? What does that mean?
Yeah, so I think the life of ministry is not a life where you have financial goals. I mean, it's just not. At least it hasn't been my experience.
Right.
I guess is what I'll say.
I concur.
And so, I mean, you can try and plan for retirement. You can try to plan for all of these things. But there's no significant movement in those areas financially. And so there's just a level of coming to terms of, well, these are my life choices. This is what I've done.
Yeah.
And God has provided for me up until this point.
Yeah.
So He will continue to provide for me
Right.
as things move forward. And so getting to an age where you start seeing your parents get older and you start seeing your friends having to take care of their parents, and so that those thoughts start creeping into your head.
Yeah.
Or even my grandma is still alive, and she's now in a assisted living place, which is crazy how much assisted living costs, like a month, like it's nuts. It just makes you go, it just has catapulted me into more of a, okay. I don't know how that's going to happen, but
Right.
God has got everything.
Yeah.
And I'm not there yet. Like, I don't need to take care of my parents.
Right.
And so that's all worrying about tomorrow.
Yeah.
And not to say we shouldn't be smart about our decisions, but just being, I think God is continually trying to renew my heart in my understanding that he loves me.
Yeah.
And He still cares. And I think when we pursue Christ for a lifetime, that can just become something that we understand instead of have an emotional connection to.
Yeah.
And I think that's what God is bringing it towards, a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
I hope so, at least. I mean, that's the nature of what is God doing in your life. I don't know for sure what He's doing.
Sure. Yeah.
But I mean, and He does that in a lot of different ways. I mean, like I said, I think I've got a sabbatical, so I'm in a place where my job has given me the great opportunity to not think about my job for 3 months.
Yeah.
Which is sweet. And it falls right on the right time of when I'm asking all these questions of where do I want to go, what do I want to do, how does what I do fit to who I am.
Yeah.
and coupled with ministry doesn't happen a lot of times. I mean, in the ministry of being dependent on donations and people that support you financially, yeah, there's another, uh, it's not like I get a budget, like it's not like
Yeah.
I never know.
Right.
I can't plan
Yeah.
for things. I can prepare for things. I can be wise with what is given to me. But it's not like
Some
It-
months,
it's
some
not
months
like
people
going to
give more,
Caterpillar.
some people give less, and
yeah,
it's never like, oh, we know this month we're gonna get this. I mean, I know there are some consistent givers, but then there are those that like give
Yeah.
like some years they give a bunch, and
Yeah.
and so, but you can't plan on it.
Right.
You can hope that or I would say hope, but I mean you do.
right.
That God just moves people in the right ways, but there are those consistents. But yeah, it's hard to. You can't just be like, hey, I know I'm going to work 40 hours, so I know I'm going to get X amount of dollars because I
Right.
worked those 40 hours.
Yeah.
Uh,
And even, I mean, I know our society is moving way away from this kind of thoughts, but I do think even big companies that want to keep you, they'll lay out a plan for you to
Yeah.
get promoted and develop and grow, and
Yeah.
it's very specific, and
right.
you've got your financial goals all laid out, and that's just not a part of my life at all. And
Yeah.
so at this point in my life, it just adds another level of, I don't know, just trust,
Mm,
just reliance.
yeah.
How
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah.
Your wife just made it through cancer,
That's
kind
true.
of. I mean, she's
on-
still going through it,
yeah.
but she's not on the hard yet
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
She's still dealing with pain.
Still dealing with pain. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I made the easy decision to go back to school, get my second master's. At the same time that we found out that Callie had cancer, so that was fortuitous planning, but it's actually, I mean, it's one of those things where God just opened up this specific door, and so like I have like this anticipation of okay, God, what are you going to do? You opened up this door, you put me in this place. Callie and I had the conversation about it. It's like it's a season. It's going to be, I mean, I spend my Saturdays, my Tuesdays and Thursday nights, sometimes every night just getting schoolwork done, and it's like, all right, God, what are you going to do with this? But then on the flip side of that is it's like, I think He's going to do some stuff, but it's not here yet. And like I think it was last week I had shared on LinkedIn even that I was like, I had a day where I just woke up and I there was a spirit within my own heart that was just discouraged, like doubt, like what if nothing comes of this? What if there's nothing on the other side of this? Like, what if you just jumped off the cliff and you thought you'd get caught and you didn't? Like, and it was just like real heavy for a lot of different reasons. And then just one of those things that you part of life is you walk through that and you were like, what if I was wrong? I mean, and some of that I think goes through like what you're talking about is like those questions you ask, like, what am I supposed to do? And then you're like, what if I chose wrong? Like when you look at your friends and you're like, hey, they all have like nice 401ks and they have plans for when they retire and they're not worried. Like, you and I have pretty much lived out the same retirement plans of like, guess I'm not retiring. So, and you start, and then the other side of the things is like, and this is something we've talked about before. I don't know if we talked about it on podcasts, but you and I talk about it. But it's like, how do you walk in hopes of responding and following rather than, or how do you step out? Like how do you balance that between of like, all right, God, are you telling me to step out and take a risk here, or is that just me being impatient and go and do that thing? And is it okay to, kind of be like, yeah, I do actually have some plans. Like, and I think for me, going back to kind of what you're talking about, like the college questions, like I never had a 5-year plan. My 5-year plan, well, and this, you can call this foolish if you want. I don't, I mean, I wouldn't change anything. I couldn't anyway, but like it was always just like, what's God want? Like, and I mean, like I graduated, college, and I stayed around, and I did some ministry, and I was doing ministry, and then one day I was just like, this is not what you're supposed to do anymore, and then God just took me to another place. And then I mean, my whole story of how I got to be Jim's friend is based on I thought I was going one direction, and God's like, no sir, that's not the way you're going to go. And we had put all of our hopes and dreams in that, and then it just crashed and burned for no particular reason that we could see. But that opened up the door, and we pivoted, and we came to Illinois, and we fell in love with Illinois, and we fell in love with camp friends, and so we wouldn't change that for the world. But like, we still never had like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be here for 5 years, and then I'll do this for 5 years, and then I'm gonna move to, and then I'll be doing this position. It was always just like, what is it, God, that you want? And even, I mean, going back to the Fuddrucker story, like, I mean, that was a big time also when we were just asking God, you've closed the world. You've closed camp. We can't have camp. I mean, we had, I think, 3 groups maybe that summer where we could do high ropes. We couldn't have anybody stay over, and we're like, well, okay, God, what are you doing? And I knew that was kind of going to be my last summer camp, but I didn't know it was going to be like that. And so, but it's those questions that, like, is it okay then? And even as I kind of, I'm getting my degree in data science, and that kind of opens me up to be able to do things pretty much anywhere. Remote, we don't necessarily want to leave the Illinois area, Peoria. We really like what we do. We like friends here. I like being at the church I'm at and helping out. But is this, are there other things that I could see myself doing and would be excited about doing that might take us away from here? Yeah, but I'm not. But again, like, that's this weird kind of thing of, do I just wait, like, or do I start, like, trying to put things in place where I feel like maybe God's leading me and directing me, like, oh, I have a desire, I have that actually, makes my heart jump. So maybe I want to go try to do that. Like, and maybe, could I even get into that? Like, and is it okay to try to sell yourself? Like, I mean, those are all things, like, I just never did. Like, sell yourself as a valuable employee, toot your own horn. Like, I have such a hard time doing that. But it's how you get hired. It's how you get, is it okay to check in with people that are above you in your company and be like, hey, how do I get to the next level? And that balance there of also going, okay, but God's going to move. He has to move, and so how do you balance that? How do you wait and know when? Because there's the flip side of that is always like the story with Jonathan, right? Where Jonathan's like, I'm going to go kill some Philistines. And his armor bearer's like, right on, man. And so he does that, and and God's like, cool, you win, you go, you're gonna have victory. And Saul is still waiting to find out what it is that God's asking, and Jonathan's already like, hey, I think I know what God wants us to do. He wants us to go defeat the enemy. And so I feel like I'm in a season of, like, am I Saul or am I Jonathan? Like, am I waiting for a word, and or has God already said, kind of like, no, like, go do your thing. And of course, if you know the story of Jonathan, like, he's like, hey, we're going to go up to this Philistine. If they say, stay down there, we're going to come kill you.
Right.
Then we're not going to climb up there, because why climb up there? Why die earlier? And he's like, but if they say, come up here, we know that the Lord's given us victory. And they do say, come up there, and they strike, and God gives them this great victory. But it's always this kind of that balance of, like, what is it, God? Am I waiting to hear from your will, or have you already really said it? And now we're being fearful, maybe. I mean, I don't know, but there's a hesitant. Is there a hesitance? Like, how do you balance between, like, the hesitant to do what you think you should be doing, with the desire to grab hold of your own destiny
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and pull yourself, and like,
Yeah,
how do you balance that?
yeah, yeah. I don't have answers for you, but I think one of the interesting things that I've found, or that I love about, I mean, so one of the interesting things that I love about pursuing Christ is the idea that it's it's all of me, and so He wants me to put as much effort as I possibly can into everything that I do.
Yeah.
And so if I'm passionate about it, if I'm thinking about better ways to do it, if I'm exercising, whatever that means to get that accomplished, He wants me to do that to my utmost abilities. And then when I run out, that's when faith takes over. And so it's a both and.
Yeah.
It's, and I know everybody loves to say quote Paul and say, yeah, but in your weaknesses is when his strengths appear. And I would argue that that's kind of what Paul is talking about.
Yeah.
Because your strengths are your strengths. Your strengths are what God gave you to use, not to subdue and to hide and to keep to yourself. I think when we're pursuing that, and when we know we're pursuing that, is when I feel like that's when we feel that flow of, like, I am doing everything I can to get to here, and I feel God. I feel Him. I'm in the stream, like I'm in that flow. I don't think that language is just hippie.
Yeah.
Like I think that's kind of what it means to be following Christ.
Yeah.
And I think all of those things, when we're pursuing that stuff and our passions and with everything that we got, we find that we're not doing it for me. I'm doing it for the benefit of whatever.
Right.
Like, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you're pursuing school because not only because you wanted to, and not only because it fits who you are, but because it's going to get you to a better place.
Right.
And I think that's what I find interesting about the questions that I'm asking myself, is I don't have the answers. I don't know where that place is. I don't know where I'm going, but I do know that I've got 17 years of camp under my belt, and team building and training and all of that, and and I've been lucky enough to have a ministry and a job that I'm not somebody that would say something like, my job doesn't define me.
Right.
Like, just who I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm blessed enough to have that all integrated and holistic. So I don't know if I can. I don't know if does that fit to anything? I don't know where I ended up.
I
think we wandered away a little bit from where I was trying to.
I think that everybody should be. I think so, and this is where we get into, like, I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, the Called Out, podcast that I did, and so we don't have to crawl back into that space because I kind of carved that out. But there's this idea that, serving God has its own special thing, or it doesn't, right? Like, I mean, it depends on where you land, but you can be so. I mean, my ultimate goal is to be a data scientist or a data and now analyst, that's the word. I should probably learn how to say that if I want to be that. So but I want to be that, but but I want to be the best one because of Christ. But most of my life it's like, oh, I'm gonna be some kind of minister, and the definition of that was I was going to work for a church or a parachurch or a Christian organization, and I may still. I mean, data science has its place in those places as well, but like there's also that side of like you can be fully in Christ, but also be a janitor, a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, bus driver, whatever it is, you can still be. And I think sometimes we're like, no, we're there's a lesserness of that, and I think that's where, like, I think that's where the struggle is because, like, calling is very much like I want to use my gifts and my talents and those type of things, and I want to do it for God, but some of that is going to be also for human things that we're gonna they're going to be in the world, and that's okay. And I think that's why Paul would say, whatever you do it unto the Lord. Because not everybody's going to be a missionary, not everybody's going to be a pastor, not everybody's going to be, maybe even some people like myself, that maybe that was a path that you walked, and then God's like, okay, you've learned those things, and maybe one day I'll get back there. But now I'm taking you in a different place, and He's opening this door, but I think that the dark side of the soul is that is like that question of like maybe I misheard, maybe I read the signs the way I wanted to read them, and so I opened the doors I wanted to open, and I closed the doors that I didn't want. Like how much do we have in that? I think that's just a natural tendency, I think, of humanity to be like to doubt. And I think it's just a reality that we're gonna live through that we're gonna have doubts, that we're gonna have concerns, that because God is at the core something that you have to have faith in, and He allows us to have faith because it pleases Him for us to have faith. That then you also have to have the ability to have doubt, and I think that I think just as critical thinkers, I think you and I both are critical thinkers. Like, we think a lot and we ask a lot of questions, and I don't know if we think deeply, but we do think critically. And I think like a sidebar of that is that we're going to have doubts, because a logical, critical thinking is like, well, one of the possibilities is that you're just wrong, that you just did something that was your impulse, and now you're painting God on top of it. Like that is at least a possible solution of all the outcomes that has happened. Right. Like that's where doubt lives, right? And I'm not saying that doubt has to win, but I think that is at least a companion that I know that I walk with, and I think, like I said, as a critical thinker that you are, that you also at least face some of that of like, where do I begin and where does God's will begin? And we've talked a little bit about that, I think, but just what does it look like? For me, it's a season, because it is a season I'm going through, but then it's like, okay, but what's the season that we're going to go to? And I really like, there's a musical artist that I've got introduced to because Callie and I went down to St. Louis 2 weekends ago and saw the Great Havens perform, but the guy opening for them, this guy's name is Joel Ansett, and he writes, he has an album called Layers. Highly recommend, but he has 2 songs. One of them is he's writing the song because his 4-year-old is looking out the window, waiting for his friends to show up, and they're a little bit late, and the mom's like, well, they'll be here soon, and he's like, man, how hard it must be for a 4-year-old to understand soon, because what a concept, like soon just means not now. And I think, excuse me, I think in the same way, I feel that with God, and that's the point of his song too, is that it's hard to wait. It takes a long time to wait, and it may be soon, and soon may be tomorrow, or it might be 100 years down the road, or whatever. And God sometimes doesn't explain that. So I love that song. And then he's got a song that's like it's already on its way. And it's the idea that even as we're asking, as we're seeking, like God's already put stuff in motion. Like you may not see it yet, but it's already on its way. And I think that like those are the things that keep me going. Is that those who wait on the Lord shall receive strength, and to know that God's anticipating and already like has already got things on the way, even if I don't see it yet, even if I don't know it yet. It is already on its way. So highly recommend Joel Ansett, Layers.
Okay.
Listen to that. Listen to all his music, but also just those concepts of that. And the song about waiting. It just it kind of changes to us of like, are we sitting by the window and kind of waiting? Like, is that because there's this hope that you have where you're like, yeah, God's moving. I'm going to see it. I'm going to watch it. I'm waiting for it to happen, and I'm hoping it's soon. And I feel that a lot of like, I'm ready to see that, like, in little ways, because I feel like it is already on its way, but also in the big ways of like, oh, this is what you're doing, and you only see that on the way looking back.
Yeah.
You don't for most of us.
Right.
Paul did get a personal messenger that was like, hey, come over here, but I have not got that yet.
Yeah.
But looking back, I can see how God has opened doors and led, and so, but that's kind of where I feel like the questions of 20 years ago, because we were both at those questions at the same time, roughly.
Yeah.
And the questions of today are that same kind of thing of like, what doors am I supposed to step through?
Yeah.
And what do I need to do to prepare myself to be able to do that? Because that's the other side of waiting, like a sabbatical for you. Like, I mean, there's a preparation too, that you are like, all right, God's got me here for a reason, and there's a reason I'm getting this time off. What door am I going to step through?
Right.
What thing do I need to learn? And I know we've kind of talked about it. I don't think you don't think you know that yet, and I'm not saying you'd have to, but I do think that is a part of like the season of like, yeah, I'm taking a break so that I can hear, as a little bit better, a little bit pause, a little bit rest, a little bit listen, kind of thing.
Yeah. I also think that it's important to recognize when your head is coming up with doubt.
Yeah.
Because I mean to quote more Paul, I think that's also an opportunity, or the sooner you recognize that, the sooner you can take those thoughts captive.
Yeah.
And push them to the side, and understand, not ignore them, and because that's another paradox of the Christian faith that I love, is the idea that forgiveness and doubt and fear, they're not to be ignored.
Right.
They're to be held.
Yeah.
And redeemed.
Yeah.
And so that doubt just solidifies, okay, there's real consequence to my life.
Yeah.
And so, and that forgiveness, and that, whatever it is, I just like those those paradox of like, it's both and, of forgiveness isn't just forgetting something that happened, it's genuinely paying the cost for whatever that was.
Yeah.
And so I think as you process through, and both of us, I think it's fun that we're kind of both asking the same questions at the same time in our personal lives, but isn't that how that works?
Separately but together.
Yeah, so, but I think that's an important aspect of the listening side.
Yeah.
So that we can understand, okay, this is me.
Yeah.
That doubt, that fear, that all those past experiences that ended poorly, that I don't want to let go of.
Right.
I have to forgive myself. I have to know that I can do that better. I have to know that
Yeah.
God isn't, coupled with the idea that even if he's walking me into a dumpster fire, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
there's still goodness.
Well, and I think
Because
that's
I think
yeah.
about some of the things that my friends are going through. I mean,
yeah.
we've got friends. I mean, we all have friends in the hospital right now with cancer. I mean that the outlook looks really grim.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what am I going to tell them, that it's going to be better?
Right.
The best they're hoping for. Some of them, the best they're hoping for is heaven.
Right.
That's, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to just have that much, and I think that's what lands me on. I want to have that much faith. I want to live a life that, in my reflection, even though everything in front of me looks hard and painful and not beneficial to anyone and costly, there's still goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the thing that I come back to, like I said, I'm just going to live with doubt. Doubt's one of the things, is my constant companion. It's going to be with me.
But it's always there. Right. Yeah.
But what I come back to, where I find I kind of anchor my soul into, is like, God is good. So like all the questions that you might have, like what's going to happen? How's this going to turn out? How's this going to get resolved? Like for me, like I go back to, like, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like. But what I do know is that God is good. And he's the ultimate good. And so whatever he does will always be the best good. So like, some people are like, well, what's heaven going to be like? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, we've got glimpses maybe. Glimpses of
a 6-pound hamburger with a pound of cheese on top of it. That's what heaven looks like.
That might send you to heaven right there.
Perfect body, getting all that down. Oh, that would be.
But whatever it might be, it'll be good. And like and to rest in the idea that God actually is the ultimate understander of what good is. Because I have my own bends on like what's good and what's good for me, and obviously I'm like easy life, restful, healthy, no problems. Like that sounds good to me. But there's actually a lot of good that comes from walking through difficult things and being part of that. And I think that remembering that whatever it might be that we walk through, I rest that God is good. And so what he walks me through is good, and where we're going is good. And it's the ultimate good. And because of that, then even if I have doubt, it doesn't change God. He's still good. And so, and that's where I rest, like that, come back to another song that I love, Come Thou Fount, because it talks about like raising your Ebenezer, and that's a stone of remembrance. Like that's what that means, is you put up that stone. And so coming back to those places and being like, oh yeah, I remember when God did this and he was good. I mean, even if you just have to go back to salvation, I remember when God saved me and that was so good. And so I know he's good, and I remember when he's led me through this, and I remember when he's led me through that. Like that's a lot of times when I walk with doubt, I also go back to, but look how far look where he's brought you. Look what he's done. Look what he's walked you through. And then you go, okay, it looks dark up ahead, but I know God is good. I'm going to trust him in that.
And I would argue that the danger with doubt, another danger with doubt, is looking back into darkness.
Yeah.
Because doubt can trump and taint all of that stuff.
Yeah.
That you're looking back at.
Right.
And so, all the way from you're not good enough and you always fail, all the way through, I don't know, whatever, you got handed a poor life or whatever. Like, I just think that, coupled with the idea that I think some people are avoiding Christianity because of that or genuinely stepping into following Christ because they view it as just a mind trick of a way of looking at life in a positive manner.
Yeah.
And so I would argue I guess I would argue that that's what I'm talking about, of looking back at your life and you're not trying to convince yourself that God was in places.
Right.
You're trying to recognize the moments
Yeah.
that were just out of your control, or I mean, like, that moment of salvation wasn't yours.
Right.
That moment of salvation is so good because the Creator moved in your heart and you decided to move and respond to that. And so I think when we look back, I think there's a difference between looking back and convincing myself that God was there versus looking back and saying things like, how do I know moving to camp was the right thing? Well, because we moved to camp with a 2-door car and 3 kids. And not a month into having camp, somebody donated a van to us.
Right.
It's those moments, like, that was not my doing.
Right.
We didn't ask for any of that.
Yeah.
It's those moments that get you to go, okay, yeah,
Right.
God is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
yeah,
I don't know. I just have been listening to, maybe I've been listening to too many podcasts, but I've been listening to podcasts that are too, that are not necessarily Christian, and I found that a lot of the people that I listen, or some of the people that I listen to, really trash on religion. Is that whole, well, it's just a mindset thing. It's just a way to, prayer is just a way to steady your thoughts and focus them, and that's good for everybody.
Yeah.
And I would agree with them that regardless of your religion, a lot of the religious practices do benefit us beyond what we know, like just in our heads, in our enjoyment of life, etc., etc.
Meditation, full stop, is healthy.
Right.
Just to meditate.
Right.
But,
however, I would argue that they just don't understand the difference that the Holy Spirit makes in all of those practices.
Yeah. Well, I think, like, and we gotta wrap things up because we've been here a long time. But
this might be a double podcaster. We got a serious one. We got a jokey one.
Just give it to them all. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Enjoy.
Just keep listening until you can't anymore.
Yeah. Turn it on and off a whole bunch of times.
So I think of like the 10-step program for AA, like you're talking about, like the spirituality side of things, like, and so AA is like, admit that there's a power greater than yourself. Like, that's foundational step number 1.
Right.
Which is good. But again, I see how you could be like, oh, it's just a mindset. Like, you just convince yourself of that. Mm-hmm. And so I think there is but I think there is kind of a similarity where if you are the power behind, and so you're convincing yourself of like it is just a mindset change, but you're convincing yourself, like, if there's not a power, there's not a Holy Spirit, there's just you, I don't think that you come to the same conclusion. I think that you can certainly, I mean, but again, most people have some kind of faith, whether or not it's a religion or not. I mean, we all have to decide to believe in something. We all have to decide to believe or not to believe, and not to believe is a faith, because we're just saying, I believe that nothing. But it's still faith because there's actually no proof. There's still that room for doubt for all belief. And so I think that the excuse is partly there because we don't want to relinquish control of who we are, or to admit that we're not the ones in control. And I think that, um, like, and I think that's a hard thing. I think the hardest thing to explain, and again, this is the last thing I'm going to say. I think the hardest thing to explain in following God is when you do things that don't seem to make sense to the rest of the world. Like, go work at camp for pennies on the dollar.
Right, right.
Or a church. Or, I mean, you know,
Whatever.
you could... I mean, Jim and I have joked about this, but but honestly, we could go into consulting. We could run a consulting business and make thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. We absolutely could do that. But it's not what we're called to do. It's not, unless that's changed, in which case, hey, welcome to Jim and Paul's.
Yeah, there we go. Well, let us know if you want some consulting.
We absolutely could have done that with our lives.
Yeah.
We still could. I'm not saying we can't, but there was something else that was pushing us, drawing us, bringing us to a different place, and it has made all the difference. But it's hard to explain that to anybody who has been like, oh, well, I've just been in the same place, I've done the same profession. Not that that's not what God called them to do, but there is a like, it's not financially wise to do a lot of what we did. Like, I mean, like,
well, yeah.
We just, you know, there's just not, like, if you're talking like, well, you ought to have savings and taxes, like, you know, at the end of the month when there's $0 to put into savings, there's $0 to put into savings. There's just not much you can do with that. And so you're trusting and you're like, and I think Paul would say the same thing in the Bible. That's why I think he's like, you know, I know what it's like to have a lot. I know what it's like to have nothing, but I'm content in all that. And so I think that's one of the hardest things to explain, because at the end of the day, it's like, well, this is when I sit down and pray, this is what God's called me to do.
Yeah.
And when that doesn't make sense, like, I find it's easy when it makes sense. It's like, hey, I can hit home runs and I can hit the baseball farther than anybody else. I feel like God's calling me to play baseball, and everybody's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Versus, like, you know, I even had I can remember in college I was in a business class, and one of the guys was like, it was 4 guys. We were playing this simulated business game against the rest of the class, and we destroyed everybody else. We won by like week 2, because of like just the ability to do the business stuff that we needed to do, that I knew how to do. And he was like, you're wasting your talent. Like, you're wasting your like, going into ministry is a waste for you. And he was not a believer. And so like, just trying to explain that to him, like, it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I can do this. It's fun. I enjoy it. And of course, ironically, I'm going back into doing stats and data and all that kind of stuff, which is similar to what I was doing. But, but to just be like, well, yeah, I get it. I can do some of those things, but what I'm called to do, what I'm supposed to do is this. And that's hard to explain. It's hard to make sense of it, when it doesn't make sense. And I think that's where, like, people like you and I, like, that's why doubt is so dangerous, because the rest of the world can even fuel into that of like, yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Like putting your future where you're at.
I mean, even brothers and sisters in churches feed that doubt. Yeah. And so, I don't know. I think okay, this will be
last thought. This is your last thought. You don't get any more.
Okay. Probably not possible.
Next month we'll get more.
I think why I think it's so valuable to think through the non-Christian perspective is because I still have non-Christian perspectives in my heart. And that's where that doubt comes from. That's where that unforgiveness of myself or others comes from. That's where all of those heart issues that lead me into just a paralyzing life they come from a place without the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to think through logically all of your, like, just what your decisions are and what you're thinking and all of that. But I also, but it's also important to trump that with, we know the Creator.
Yeah.
And He's going to step in, and He's going to acknowledge your doubts.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if He doesn't make your life here on earth better,
Right.
you have opportunity, and because life's not about you,
Mm.
it's about that unbeliever in your life who you don't even know is watching you right now, that's gonna notice. You know, like,
Yeah.
or even believers, or I mean, your brothers and sisters that you're going to get closer to Christ. I
Yeah.
visited someone in the hospital who got really bad diagnosis of cancer and just could have been super depressed and could have been really hard, and it was the most fulfilling visit I've ever had
Yeah.
in the hospital, because he was so joyous and so focused on Christ. And I mean, I was blessed. I thought I was going there to lift his spirits, and he did the
Yeah.
opposite happened. And so, as in, he lifted mine. So it was.
You
It's
both
just-
were, you both were sadder, but no.
Yeah, we both.
The opposite happened. We're both depressed now.
100% pulled an Eeyore, and I don't know how that's going to
And
work
he
out.
did too.
So anyway,
No, you both
but
were.
I think
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that's why it's important to think through that whole, like, what is the non-Christian perspective of this?
Yeah.
Because that's a gauge to where your heart is.
Yeah. I think, final thought for me, because I'm going to cut it off after this anyway. Whether it's the final thought or not, we're done.
You are such a pastor. You said final thought 3
For
thoughts
you.
ago. Well,
For you.
No, you can go back and listen to the tape,
I
sir.
won't. I never
Do you
do.
hear how old I am? I said listen to the tape.
Roll that back again.
Roll that. Somebody rewind that.
Rewind the tape. The final thought on the final thought of the final thought.
Okay. Right before we
is-
end. Thanks for having me.
is,
by the way.
yeah, I appreciate. We'll have to do this again. Obviously, we don't do it enough because we have a whole lot of things to talk about. But I think I lean on what Paul says when he says that right now we see through the glass dimly. Like when we look back, we see light and darkness, and we can choose which one we want to focus on. That is a mindset kind of thing, but I think it's a good reminder that we, this side of heaven, don't get to see clearly, and at best we see a hazy picture of what might be going on, and I think that's where choosing. I think that being honest with doubts to God and to other people, I mean, to help to find that encouragement is so key. It's in the Psalms that people, but then at the end of the day, I do think the Psalms are instructive in this way that you can pour out your heart and all the emotions you have to God, but at the end of the day, you need to come to a place where you recognize God as sovereign and He is good, and worthy of being praised, regardless of where you might be, and so it's being honest. It's being honest with God. They're like, hey, I don't like any of this, or I love all of this, or whatever you might be. That's honesty with Him. But then I think it's also being honest with even if it doesn't look like it, God's still good. Even if I don't feel it, God's still good. Even if I can't see it, God's still good. And I think that to me is where doubt, that's where my doubt goes to die. Is that what I choose to believe, and that's the faith side of this, is that God is good. And the ultimate good. So it doesn't mean I don't have doubt. It doesn't mean I don't have days. I mean, I woke up and had a morning of it. I definitely had what have I done? am I actually making a good choice? Is this all going to work out?
Mm.
Am I just like, this
Right.
is a lot of work. Why am I doing this? I'm so
Right.
tired. And then I just had to be like, yeah, but remember what God, you remember how God's put you here? Remember how God opened that door? Remember how you weren't really looking for it, but then all of a sudden you were, and that's,
Mm.
you know, like
Mhm.
all of it came together in this almost, I'll say miraculous way, and it's like, oh yeah, and then you're like, yeah, okay, cool, I'm with it, I'm going, let's
Mhm.
go, because I know God's good.
Hmm.
So, Jim, thank you for hanging out with me. We'll have
right.
to do this again next month. I don't know if we'll do. So far, we've done 2 hours and 15 minutes, so
Whoa.
I don't know if we can continue
We're
that
going-
on.
we're-
But for those that are still listening, thanks for listening, and you're welcome for 2 hours of content. That is a lot of mindless listening to us as we drone on. So
There you
appreciate
go.
that.
All right.
Final word.
Adios.
Adios. All right. Thanks, you guys. Hope you have a blessed week.